fucking hungry still because I walked 3 miles to pick up a package from USPS. So I'm gonna make myself a little protein shake. You know what? Let's do it this way. Let's do it. Let's make a little wager because I'm hungry on Maine. I'm a little late. I'm home a little late. I had to go to the post office, which I've decided I would walk because it's a reasonable distance. And I burned like 600 calories, says my watch. So I think it's a time for a protein shake. So here's what's going to happen is I'm going to make it. And if it makes a bunch of noise that I have to edit out, what should I do? Like if this recording is something I have to edit, if it is evil, what's the price I pay? What do we propose?
I think you should light yourself on fire in Times Square.
Okay, but I'm not going to find out till I edit it back.
So we'll just know that, like, next month we'll just be like, hey guys, it's Willow and Dav. Tommy's not in the podcast anymore. He did set himself on fire in Times Square.
Why specifically Times Square?
I don't know, because that way, like, a lot of people are watching.
Times Square is the only place with people?
It just seems like a great place to set yourself on fire.
Seems like kind of a statement.
Yeah.
Alright. Well, I've incorporated the ice cubes, I've poured in the base protein shake. The recipe you're learning from me today is the birthday cake flavored protein shake with some dried up strawberries. Then I chop in some real strawberries and just a little harmless dollop of cream cheese, so it resembles like a New York cheesecake kind of deal.
Okay, I see. I see.
Penis to vagina.
The more I hear about that movie, the less I believe it exists. I'm going to drop in the strawberries. Cream cheese. So, am I to presume that if you both can hear the blender, it would show up in the recording?
Probably, yeah.
So I guess we will know pretty instantaneously. So if you want me to do something like on air, that would be humiliating in return for...
Light yourself on fire!
I'll edit out... Oh, I gotta think of like a funny song to like abruptly cut to so people know. They're like, oh shit.
Okay, if I think this is fair. I think if we can hear it, I think that... Are you doing any roasts tonight?
Yes.
Okay, I think you have to switch your toasts and roast.
Oh, so like... Okay, I think I can do that. Just be a little cheeky little fucker. Alright. A little more ice. Just
cheeky little sucker, cheeky little fucker.
Okay, I'll add the compartment of the spinning blade cap. Lodge it into the ninja. Brace yourselves. And hit smoothie. Can you all hear that?
Like little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. But if I recall correctly, the deal was just if we could hear it. So...
I can't hear you while you're the protein shake blending.
Select your character.
Rev up those fryers and fill your champagne glasses to the very tippy top. I'm Tommy, and you're listening to West Coast Toast and Roast, starring Willow, Dav, and yours truly.
Get ready for the next battle.
Welcome back to West
you
Coast.
died in 9/11?
Whoa.
Is that the joke that you were making? Why else would your arms be crispy unless you died in a fire?
Because Dav, have you not been paying attention? Will said I would have to set myself on fire at Times Square.
I have not been paying attention.
What? Do you think Dav, as your co-host, get your fucking shit together? We have like 20 listeners to do this for, and it's like you don't even care.
And every single one of them are Gods. They're all gods.
Yeah, you're all great. Chads, every single last one of you. Welcome back to West Coast Toast and Roast. I lit myself on fire at Times Square, and I'm Tommy.
And I forced Tommy to light himself on fire on Times Square, and I'm Willow.
And welcome back to West Coast Toast and Roast. I set myself on fire in Times Square, and I'm Tommy. I'm Dav, and I also have diabetes.
Man, we're really putting the toast and roast.
I don't like this bit where Dav, briefly snaps into being me. Yeah, okay, well, normally we would do trailer life and death for this part of the show. However, it's Super Bowl season. It was just February, probably March by the time you're listening. And Super Bowl season is kind of E3 for normies, as I call it, because people will pay huge amounts of money for big game spots, as they call it, because you can't say Super Bowl without getting sued. So yeah, you two, probably lawyer up, And so a ton of fucking trailers drop, usually around or at the Super Bowl. So I thought we could just rapid fire the handful or so of movies we got. Because there's a lot of games too, but those are little news bulletins. There's a state of play. There's a couple of developer direct thingies. But we got I think north of 10 trailers or so, just to real quick fire off. The first thing we got, pull up my little list here. So early in February, we got a fuller trailer for Sinners, film by Black Panther auteur Ryan Coogler, in which Michael B. Jordan plays his own twin, and he hunts vampires, and Haley Steinfeld is a vampire in it. Life.
I also say life because it looks fun.
Yeah.
I also say life because the initial trailer that came out was interesting, but I couldn't really tell what was going on, and now that I know what's going on, I really want to see it. So yeah, it's a life.
Yeah, people said this trailer gave away too much, but I'm we know what the deal is now.
But yeah, there's a hook now. The original trailer, it was they had spooky vibes, but I couldn't tell you at all what it was supposed to be at the time.
Yeah.
I'm there. I think Ryan Coogler can make a damn fine film. I watched Wakanda Forever kinda as homework just because I skipped that one in theaters. I just watched it recently. And as much as it's one of the only Marvel movies that's about something, the part Ironheart is maybe one of the worst special effects I've ever seen in a film.
It's a Power Ranger.
It's awful. Sinners should be pretty cool. Thumbs up. Fantastic Four, First Steps. Bad title, first off. I just call it Fantastic Four. Who gives a shit? I'm still not on board with the casting, unfortunately. And with how long they were holding out, it was waiting for the resurrection for them to finally just spit out. That's Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, the guy from The Bear, whose name I kind of don't know how to properly say, and Joseph Quinn. And you'd think, waiting on the reveal like that, it would be okay, they'll win us over. I'm just kind of not. So it's kind of ostensible temporary death.
I do agree that the casting definitely needed some work, especially I don't know, Reed Richards needs to be mega autistic, and Pedro Pascal, I think, is
just
Reed's got to be kind of a creep. Not a creep, but he's got to be
he needs to look like he'd rather look down a telescope than have sex with his wife.
Yeah, exactly. That being said,
he's married to the most beautiful woman in the Marvel universe, and he's ooh, molecules. That's Reed Richards to me.
Yeah, pretty much. And I guess I'm not passionate about any of the casting that happened, but also I think the trailer does a good job. I am looking forward to it. I'm glad we get Galactus's helmet and whatnot, so I will give this one a cautious life.
That's kind of I don't trust the MCU not to fuck up Galactus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they could. They're definitely going to be like, Galactus was a Stark employee.
Dav, where are you at with it?
I'm just gonna say right off the top that I'm giving it a death, but I'm like hoping that it'll be at least somewhat enjoyable. I don't know. I mean, because we already know like the horrible casting for Doom and how that's gonna be like a post-credit scene here.
Oh yeah.
And I don't like hate the casting of the main four characters, and I appreciate that they are going for like a very classic vibe with like the whole like retro futurism 60s kind of weird thing going on. But I don't know. I think that Galactus should be like like a Marvel like phase villain, not just like a movie villain, honestly. Um But yeah, just in general, and I don't like the MCU has just been missing after missing after missing lately. Like
Yeah.
it used to be even just like a couple years ago, you could say like, oh yeah, you know, they released that weird like black and white Halloween movie, and they're doing like something interesting every once in a while. But now it's like, no, there's nothing to like really defend them on anymore. It's just
You mean you're not excited for Thunderbolts asterisk?
no. No, I'm not excited for Suicide Squad 3, okay?
Oh god. Apparently some people are like, it's obvious that like the trailers are making it obvious that Taskmaster is gonna like die right away, and like honestly, good for them.
Well, like, did you see that there was a poster? And I was like, this looks like a box of Wheaties. What's the deal? And I think that's like what they're going for. And I'm like, I don't get it. What are you talking about?
I mean,
they have like, yeah.
I was just gonna say like they're trying to do like almost like I don't want to say like Guardians of the Galaxy thing, but they are using like a bunch of lesser known characters. Like I forgot that Ghost was in the MCU.
Well, also it's like Sebastian Stan and Florence Pugh, who like, yeah, not to like diss the other actors that are paramount to the MCU, but they're two of like the bigger capital A actors. Like they're not just in blockbusters the way you see like Chris Evans in now. And I feel like it's kind of like squandering their talent to, unless they do something kind of cool, which they won't. Bucky like pulls his arm out of a dishwasher. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know we're not talking about that, but that's a death.
Yeah. It got
MCU
a new trailer. Sorry, Dav, go ahead, yeah.
I was just saying, the MCU has this problem, I think, especially with this whole multiverse saga, where, like, when the MCU first started in, like, 2008, and they were introducing characters like, oh, here's Iron Man, here's the Hulk, here's Captain America, it was very easy to, like, get accustomed and remember those characters because we already, like, most people already know who all those characters are. They are very famous. And in this phase, they're trying to do, like, less famous characters, a little more niche, and, like, you know, Young Avengers stuff, but they are only having these characters appear in one thing, and then they're all just suddenly going to appear in, like, the next Avengers movie.
That is true,
and
yeah.
nobody's going to know who any of them are.
Well, there's also, like, 3 sub-teams of the Avengers, it seems like. You got, like, it seems like Ant-Man is gonna hold down the fort on the core Avengers, which, take that as you will. And then there's rumors the Thunderbolts, the reason there's an asterisk in the name is that they'll be the Dark Avengers, which I don't think that's what those are.
Yeah, that's not, like, that is a separate team.
Yeah, and then you've also got the Young Avengers with, like, Kamala and Kate Bishop, and I guess presumably Wanda's kids somewhere in there. It's kind of a clusterfuck. I'd eat my word, I guess back to, and then Fantastic Four also kind of erupting in, but I guess they're kind of in another universe or timeline or something. I could see
some multiverse bullshit.
I could see if they stick the landing with Ben Grimm, I think I'd like that.
Mhm.
You gotta really... The effects don't look half bad on him. I'm kind of back and forth on that.
I do think the eyebrows look kind of weird in 3D, but I can see what they were going for.
Yeah.
I like it more than the Fant 4 stick design, but I think I
yeah.
actually don't like it as much as the the 2000s Fantastic Four design.
Michael Chiklis, the like severely rubber looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was like a charm to that, you know.
Yeah, no, I see what you mean. Yeah, we should check out the Roger Corman Fantastic Four before this one, because the one that's like canceled and I think only exists vaguely as an archived piece in a documentary or something. I guess that's neither here nor there. We got the next Final Destination. I think it's called Bloodlines. Is that the title?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dav, you're like a fanatic of this franchise. They gave us like one really solid death, right out of the, not in the context of trailer life or death. They gave us a Final Destination kill, and they just play it straight, and they just like let it ride, and it's kind of fucking neat. Pretty much the best thing you could do to sell someone on Final Destination. But Dav, what are your early impressions?
It definitely looks better than 4. And also probably better than 2 and 3 and 1. The one it's got to live up to, though, is 5, because the 5 is the peak of that franchise. It is so good. The effects are so fucking terrible, but my god, you know, every single one of the actors are actually fun to watch. And the characters are not all just complete pieces of shit. They're very one-dimensional, so they are still fun to watch die, but they are not racist assholes like they are in Final Destination 4. And if that carries over to this movie, I hope that they've learned lessons from that, and that's going to be great. I want just, you know, some not necessarily Oscar-winning emotion, but Final Destination 5, I feel like, tried to have some emotional stakes and tried to have something to say, and if they at least attempt that here, that'll be good. The one thing that I will add to this, though, is that it seems like this is a pretty huge departure from the usual formula for this franchise. Mm-hmm. Because I think they've become aware at this point that every single movie is basically the same. So I think what they're doing instead is they're having sort of a similar hook with some sort of disaster, a premonition that gets people out of it. But it seems like the characters that we're actually following here are just related to either the survivors or the people who died in those incidents.
Oh, interesting. I didn't realize that.
Because in the trailer, the guy is on the phone and talking about how his dad just died, and he's tattooing his dad on his arm, and then he gets killed. So I think it's that's kind of where the Bloodlines name I think is coming from.
Oh fuck! Okay.
So I don't think that they're related to characters we've already seen before. I think this is its own kind of isolated thing. But in any case, I really appreciate that they're mixing things up. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm giving it a life.
I want to say the most positive impression I've gotten so far is the fact that it just so happened a friend of mine, kind of on a whim, joined me to one of my little Alamo Drafthouse outings, and we saw Hard Eyes. And this, she is not someone who, I think she said this was the very, Hard Eyes, where I took her to see, was the very first scary movie she ever watched. So,
what?
something about just the escalation of a Final Destination death really caught her off guard. And she was like, because it's the guy who, gets his lip ring caught on the fan, spins around, and she's like, oh no, and it just gets fucking worse from there. The shop lights on fire, which is very fun to hear somebody's first reaction to. She's like, what the fuck? So I think the trailer does its job. The proof is in the pudding there. That's a life from me.
Yeah. I also give it a life. I think it looks really fun. Dav, I know you showed us the Final Destination movies, and yeah, there's a few stinkers in there, but I agree that 5 is just really fun. So I hope that we get something like on par, or at least like as fun.
Yep, and we're getting a Tony Todd like post-death appearance.
I was going to
yeah.
ask about that. I thought maybe he was gone too fast. All right. Hurry Up Tomorrow is a film a little more on the fringe of the big IPs we've covered so far, but this is directly connected to the musician The Weeknd, who I don't know if either of you have like a lot of history with, but I like his music. I like him in Uncut Gems when Adam Sandler says, "Bye, go have fun fucking The Weeknd," which I always think of when I hear his music. It looks like kind of a drug trip. It could be like secretly mid, but like I feel like it looks cool enough to. I'll say this. At one point when I popped an Eddie and caught a movie, I caught the trailer and I was pretty entranced because it's very trippy and very soothing. It's got Barry Keoghan and Jenna Ortega, who I love. I'll happily give this a shot. It's a life from me. Pretty straightforward.
I'm honestly gonna give this trailer a death. I couldn't really tell what was going on besides like the aesthetics. And reading the, like the little description of what goes on in the movie, it just doesn't seem to be up my alley. I think it definitely could impress me, especially if it does have just like some really cool visuals. But for now, it's not very high on my list. I give this one a death.
I think it's a vibes piece for sure. That's fair.
Yeah. And The Weeknd does like a lot of strange like multimedia crossovers, and I just like he had a haunted house at Universal Halloween Horror Nights, and it's like, okay, why what is going on? Why do we need a haunted house based on The Weeknd?
I think it's cool that he like throws around his money and does kind of weird shit. I think it's cool that way, but that's just me.
Yeah, when I think of The Weeknd, I think of that the Daniel Craig thing, the ladies and gentlemen,
The
Weeknd. I'm gonna honestly give this one a pretty hard life, and the reason being is that I feel like lately I've been getting a little bit more and more into like surrealist stuff, and I used to really just despise anything like that, not even that long ago, but I don't know, just lately I've been enjoying it more. Like I watched the first couple episodes of Twin Peaks. Ooh. And I'm probably gonna keep watching that because I'm just really digging it.
Yeah. The second I can relate to you entirely in the voice of Gordon Cole, who is David Lynch's character on there, I'll be overjoyed.
Yeah, I'll get there someday. I'm taking it a little bit at a time. I feel like, it's the type of show that I'm not going to watch sober, because it deserves to not be watched sober. And similarly, neither am I going to watch this movie sober. I'm going to get higher than I've ever been, because this looks like just an incredible time. I have no idea what the fuck is going on, and I'm probably not going to figure that out when I watch the movie. So, I'm looking forward to it. I'm giving it a life.
Alright. Jurassic World Rebirth. I feel like there's like a red blinking sniper rifle on my forehead. Like, I have to choose my words carefully. I'm happy we're getting away from like Chris Pratt and that whole deal, because I always thought those characters kind of sucked and those movies kind of sucked. I kind of don't really get. I guess this is what, like, I know someone said this is, beg your pardon, however many years after the last movie, which it seems like all the dinosaurs have like grouped to one island or something, and you have to like.
No, it's the they said it's like where they originally like tested and like made. They're basically the prototype dinosaurs for the original Jurassic Park.
I see. Okay.
Like they didn't turn out quite right, so they just kind of left them there.
So we're still living in a world, per the epilogue of Jurassic World, where, like, Dominion, was that the last one? Yeah, Fallen Kingdom, then Dominion.
Yeah.
Where, like, dinosaurs are just, like, intermingling with normal animals and, like,
Yes.
fucking up the ecosystem.
Yes, so these are presumably the last people on Earth.
Mmm.
No,
Oh.
I'm just kidding.
I didn't...
I'm just joking.
Oh.
I'm just saying that the series
would have
does
been
not
cool.
make any
would've
logical
been-
sense at all. It would at least justify why they brought a kid there. There's a little girl with them for some reason. That is insane.
I don't get what, like, why... I don't really get what the thought process behind ScarJo was, because, like, I
Big
feel like
name.
this is when... Yeah, but she, like, I don't know, like, I feel like this is when you get, like, a Kaylee Spaney, or, like, some fresh blood, I don't know.
No, ScarJo just died in the MCU forever, so she's open to more slop.
And maybe I'm biased. I've always been kind of a ScarJo skeptic. I've never been like, oh, that's the one, like... I've never been a big...
I love you 3000, everyone.
Yeah. Well, it's like, whenever she tries to do, like, really, like, capital I important drama, I'm like, you have a face that knows what a bidet feels like. You're not poor. You're not struggling. Okay,
I have a
like,
face that knows what a bidet feels like. I'm not as
you
rich
know
as
what I
Scarlett
mean.
Johansson.
Okay, I'll say, I liked her in Asteroid City. That was pretty good.
Yeah, that was good.
Death looks swooey, but I guess it'll probably be better than the original 3 Jurassic World, so it might be a 4 out of 10.
This is an easy death. Jurassic Park shouldn't have continued after the first movie.
It shouldn't. Yeah, I'm giving it a death too. You know what? I think if they want to make another Jurassic Park movie, they should just like reboot the series and do like a very faithful adaptation of the book.
That'd be cool.
But
Yeah.
even then, I don't even think they should. I think that they just shouldn't make any more. But it's too much money.
I think I'd have a real shot at being Nedry. I think they could get me to do it.
Yeah, you could do Nedry.
I could do Nedry. We got F1. This is directed by Joseph Kosinski, who is hot off of Top Gun Maverick, the movie that saved movies, that I think is good. And I think this is intended to be kind of the dude's rock, the dad's rock of the summer, where it's not a big IP, it's just older dude, like Brad Pitt is there. Like, it's kind of what Wolves tried to be last year, but no one fucking watched that. I didn't watch it. I watched like 100 fucking new movies last year. At the moment, I kind of am like, yeah, but like, you're going from Tom Cruise, who's like president of Hollywood, to Brad Pitt, who's like kind of like in a weird spot, I feel, with some controversies and being kind of a piece of shit, and also just doing like mostly bad movies lately. Like, he's kind of hot off of Wolf's and Bullet Train, so it's like a shaky, I guess, death from me. But if Kosinski really brings that seasoning, I could see it being pretty alright.
Give it a death because I'm not interested in, like, Formula racing.
That's fair. I guess I'll give it a life. Not because I'm particularly interested in it, but like, I don't know, racing in general is kind of boring, but it's mostly if you're like from a very far away perspective, I think. I think when you film it and direct it right, it can be very like riveting to watch. And it does seem like there's some sauce to the way that this is filmed, I can tell just from the trailer.
Yeah.
But it also looks like they're doing like a just a boring like romantic subplot or something. So I don't know if I'm gonna be loving that, but it could be interesting, I think, just based on the direction alone. So I'll give it like a light life, yeah.
The Accountant 2, I hope it dies, I hope it burns, I hope it fails on every fucking level. I think you both know why.
Yeah, I'm giving this movie a life because I look forward to playing it in your room as you're sick and dying.
No, actually... There's a layer to that joke we're not getting into. No, it can go fuck itself. It's lost me.
I give it a death because it just doesn't look interesting.
Yeah, same here. I'll give it a death. I never watched the first one, but
Well, you both know the podcast safe reason I hate this film, right?
No.
Is it just that it's bad?
No, that the love interest. Do you know who plays the love interest in The First Accountant?
No.
And who is not in this film for no reason?
Tom Cruise.
Anna Kendrick.
I see.
That was a layup for you, David. Come on.
Dang it.
Get together!
I thought it was too obvious.
And they just didn't bring her back. I don't know. You know what? I don't care if she didn't, respect if she didn't feel like being in it because it looked stupid. No respect if they just didn't even call her because they wanted to make it a weird bromance between Ben Affleck and the Punisher. I think it can choke on its aspirations. I hope it dies.
Well, I hope they have sex.
Yeah. Well, they're actually brothers, but also they seem it is really fucking funny to have a love interest in the first movie and save her and go through all that, and then just be like, "No, I'm just gonna go on this adventure with my brother."
Hey, Nico, let's go bowling.
Y'all know about my cousin Nick. All right, this is running a little long. Smurfs. Okay.
Death. Influencer Smurfs. Death.
Yeah. No. Okay. This is what I want to make clear about this.
Rihanna is Michi.
This is what I like. The hill I'm about to die on is that I'm the schmo. I'm the schmuck that was kinda amped for Garfield last year. And I'm looking at this Smurfs trailer what are we fucking doing here?
Who still cares about the Smurfs?
How have we gotten 3 movies in the past 20 years where the Smurfs go to New York and twerk, but we haven't gotten... But Gendy Tartakovsky can't get a fucking Popeye movie greenlit. What the fuck are we doing?
Does Popeye twerk in the movie?
I mean, I think an executive might mandate that. I'm sure. Da-da-da-dab! I don't know.
And then Popeye films a TikTok about spinach.
Spinach.
Me spinach recipes ain't doing the same numbers they used to, Olive. It's pretty good. And they're doing... It's oh man, and now it's the Smurfs go to Paris. They sing a parody of... There's an influencer Smurf that they should have called Influence Smurf, if you ask me. They sing Ooh Baby, Heaven's a Place on Earth, when it could have been Heaven's a Place on Smurf. But they're fucking cowards. And they make lame-ass jokes yeah, just make sure you tip your Uber Eats driver, or they might lick the food for... Fuck you! Ugh. I guess, you know what? Alright. We also... Last one. No, not last one. Well, we got a vague teaser for some... Last one for this year, before, the big teaser we got today. Trailer, we got Another Simple Favor, which I really liked what Willow said when I texted her that we were getting a trailer for it. It was, how many favors this bitch gonna do? A Simple Favor is one of my all-time favorite trash films. This is a sequel that reclaimed Anna Kendrick from the first one. Take some fucking notes, Affleck. And it is the wine mom airplane thriller, but I would say played for comedy very broadly in a way that Will, I showed you that movie and I was half and half on how you would feel about it, and you actually got kind of a kick out of it.
No, yeah, I think it's it's especially the ending has a really funny moment.
Has made one of the best undoings of a villain of all time.
Yeah. I mean, I know you're definitely giving this a life, right, Sherman?
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I give it a cautious life because I think the fact that it is just going to Amazon, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that has me a little worried, but like as long as it keeps the humor from the first movie, I think I'm okay with that. So like Light Life, I hope it's as fun as the last one.
Dav, you haven't seen the first one, but I'm probably gonna pick it for a movie night before this one comes out. But I don't know if you have any errant thoughts on how it looks.
Yeah, I haven't seen the first one. I've heard good things about it from both of y'all, and I've been meaning to get around to watch it at some point. It does sound like it's pretty good, and I don't really have the context for everything that's happening in this trailer, but it does look pretty interesting. And I know it's the first one's one of your favorite movies, and it's got Anna Kendrick in it. So with all that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a death.
Oh. Well, it is the damnedest thing. The comments are turned off on YouTube on the official Prime Video upload. And I don't know why they would do that. It's not like one of the actors has been in like hot water or anything lately.
Wait, which actor?
Blake Lively?
Wait, what happened with Blake Lively?
Oh my god, Willow, have you not been on the internet?
With Blake Lively?
Yes.
I mean, pretty much all the news I see nowadays is like Donald Trump has announced that he will kill everyone.
Here's why that's a good thing.
This podcast will be 5 hours long if I truly try to litigate this to you. Are you at least vaguely aware of It Ends With Us from last year?
I know what it is, yeah.
That it's the the romance novel movie directed and starring Justin Baldoni alongside Blake Lively. And that movie comes out, I saw it because my sister really wanted to. It eats farts. But it makes a fuck ton of money because people love that book. Anyway, it gradually starts to unfurl that Baldoni and Lively clashed a lot on set. And I guess the short of it is, it's basically erupted into Johnny Depp Amber Heard 2.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
It's like something new. It's got, just to speak from where you might, where it's gotten to a point where Justin Baldoni has accused Nice Pool from Deadpool and Wolverine of being a mean-spirited caricature of him.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Which, Justin Baldoni has had, like, awards revoked because Blake filed, lawsuit for sexual harassment. He's trying to sue her back for defamation. Just to not resemble Switzerland on Maine, I'm inclined to side with Blake, because I just think that after seeing the Amber Heard thing, I just feel that it is much easier for one side than the other of these kinds of conflicts. However, I also do tend to, like, scurry into the relatively safe hole that rich people be fucking crazy and probably nobody's hands are clean in this matter. So, that's kind of why Amazon has been a little like, yeah, we kind of don't want to hear your thoughts on this one. We hope you tune in, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really taking sides on this. I think, if anything, I'm just on her husband's side, because Ryan Reynolds is one of the leaders at Mint Mobile. Hey, everybody at home, Mint Mobile, because your phone should smell good too.
I will say Justin Baldoni's husband has also made comments that he would kill Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively the way the IDF has killed Hamas.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, my. Golly. Fucking, I refer to that picture of, Mr. Plinkett on the roller coaster riding from Detective Pikachu to Stan Lee dying a lot. And I feel like this has just been one of those days, because then, after all of this, and then Michelle Trachtenberg dies, and Gene Hackman dies, and then Shrek 5 teaser trailer in a year and a half. Shrek has a new design. Eat up.
He's got, like, crow's feet now. He's old.
Yeah.
So, I'm pro redesign, honestly. I fuck with it.
I think it is definitely just like an updated style.
Yeah.
That being said, the trailer was pretty not good.
It was this lengthy, like, Snapchat filter joke in the magic mirror.
Yeah.
Zendaya is ostensibly Felicia, because I think that's... yeah.
Yeah.
Because the other two are... Was it your partner, Will, that, like, knew all 3 Shrek baby names off the dome and really scared me?
I think so.
Like, they were just like, Fergus, Farkle, Felicia.
Yeah.
And that's the
you
only
got
way...
them.
Well, yeah, well, fucking just the confidence with which Jay said that, it's like burned into... Fergus, Farkle, Felicia.
Now it's your weird personality trait. It's spread to you.
Well, and then, so Ferguson, unless one of them transitions, presumably Zendaya's Felicia. And she'll say something like, "That's lit, Dad."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she's like her character design is like way too much. I think she's way over designed for that universe.
Well, she reminds me of when Fiona in Shrek 4 is like a warrior. With the long ass hair. Yeah, kinda.
Kinda. I just feel like the fashion in Shrek is very simple for the most part.
Yeah.
And she's got like so much going on.
Got a nose ring.
Well, it is almost like what I've kind of come to call the Clone High principle, where it's like you'll introduce a new generation of characters that presumably grow up contemporaneous with their new audience in a younger era, and, say what you want, Gen Z fashion is anything but simple, and so there's just this divide, and I'm not saying, it's good because it's accurate, but there is just this, like, very staunch divide that makes a character immediately identifiable, for better or worse, to the Skibbity Toilet generation, as it were.
Can't see a nose ring in a silhouette.
No, yeah, that's true. Yeah, alright, Shrek 5, why not? Year and a half. I'm pro, you know what? There was like a solid decade where, or not decade, 2 decades or so, where we were obsessed with making cartoon characters look as realistic as possible, and you could make out every hair follicle in both Donkey Kong and Shrek's nose, and we are approaching a new generation where they are round and friend-shaped. So that has me in kind of a good mood, even if this movie turns out pretty bad. Alright. Anything else about that? Are we ready to... We've spent about 47 minutes on those
Yeah.
I think it's
Let's
gonna be mid as fuck, and I think it's, I'm gonna give it an I don't care, because it's not gonna be as good as The Last Wish.
True, yeah. Okay, Will, save us. First toast of the night, or roast, whichever it ends up being.
All right. It's been a pretty good month for media for me. Gonna start off with the toast of a video game. Decided to pick up Crypt the Necrodancer. Because that's on our Steam family. And I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. It is a very difficult game, and it's really frustrating. But it's also really cool. Simple story, main person goes to the underworld to find her parents.
Cadence.
Yeah, Cadence. And then, she meets the Necrodancer. But what's cool about it is it's basically a hybrid rhythm game, dungeon crawler, roguelike, and it is insane. You walk around on squares. Each enemy has a specific attack pattern and range, but also you need to move on the beat. So you have to have a really good rhythm, because if you lose it, you'll lose a multiplier, or in some cases you'll lose an entire life. So it's a pretty for a pixel game where you are just kind of hopping around, it's a really quick-paced and fun experience. All the music is great, and depending on what character you play, the music may be different for like each stage. The sprite work is really, really good. It's hard to explain because it is like, it's not like, Crypt the Necrodancer asks what it means to be human in a world of darkness. It's just you hop around to the beat, you kill skeleton, you save mother, you save father, you win the game.
Going farther and farther to Eastern Europe as the sentence goes on.
She bounce on me crazy style.
I don't like where this is going.
How Dorlock?
I thought you were being fucking David Harbour from Thunderbolts.
No,
The
I just-
Fortnite Battle Pass.
I just remember, like, I can't remember where it was, if it was like a video or a picture or what, but it was like Count Orlok saying that line, and ever since I've just been kind of looking for an excuse to say it.
Look at Aaron Taylor Johnson and his mustache from that movie. There'll be no bouncing. There are no vampires.
Nosferatu was great.
Yeah.
No, but it's just like really fun. It is very difficult, especially because you are thinking about pretty much like 3 things at once, that being keeping on the beat, making sure you don't run into an enemy to get hit, and then also understanding what your enemy's attack range and patterns are. So it does take a lot of brain power. But it's... Oh, go ahead.
Do you defeat enemies by staying on the beat, or are those 2 different tasks?
Those are 2 different tasks.
Okay.
Which, does make it a little bit more difficult. But you can get, like, different weapons that will, like, range it, or, like, deal extra damage. So even though it is, like, a pretty technical experience, it's still just, like, a lot of fun. I don't know whose idea was it to be like, we gotta do a rhythm roguelike. But it works. It's got a really nice Steam workshop. So, you can basically make the character pretty much whoever you want.
Can you, like, input songs? Kind of like Beat Saber?
I think you can, actually. I know there's, like, there's a few mods that I downloaded that are like music from other game series, but I can't remember what they are off the top of my head. Oh yeah, Hatsune Miku is there. You can play Miku mode, and I'm not even kidding.
Yeah,
like
that's like DLC or something.
Yeah, and it just like turns the stage music into Miku songs. It's great.
Miku-tastic.
Yeah.
I've been playing the sequel a little bit, the Rift of the Necrodancer, and that's been getting like insanely good reviews, and I've been enjoying it so far. It's crazy weird.
The pictures I've seen, though, like, it has a cool fucking art style.
Yeah. The thing I'm struggling on is the last, like, as far as I know, the last bit of story is you have to play with a character who dies in one hit and can't get any other weapons, so it's a little... Honestly, I will say that's, like, a big complaint I have. I don't think you should have to, like, play on ultra mega death hard mode just to, like, experience the entire story.
Does this character die in one hit, or do they just have 2 left feet in this rhythm game?
Thanks for coming on to the podcast. No, but yeah, I don't know if, I definitely do want to try the new one, and I know there's Cadence of Hyrule, which looks like a lot of fun. I just need to...
Is that like a crossover? Sorry, because I didn't know the main character was named Cadence. I knew vaguely that existed, but the character's name being in the title makes me think it's like they actually meet, like Cadence meets Link.
Actually, I don't know, Dav, can you comment on that?
I'm pretty sure that's what happens, yeah.
Oh,
alright, there you go.
It is a crossover.
For her. Good for her.
But yeah, no, if you like rhythm games, if you like fun roguelikes, you should pick this one up. It's a lot of fun. And I will keep this rhythm going and pass it to Dav.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think Valentine's Day was a mistake.
Oh, okay.
Today I'm starting this off with a roast of the film Love Hurts, directed by Jonathan Eusebio, written by like 3 people, and starring the golden boy himself, Ki-hoi Kwan, as Marvin Gable.
This movie wasn't written, it was fucking, like, whipped out of writers on the fucking drawing board. Fucking Kei Kwan has an Oscar, make him a story! Not endearing enough!
Ki-hoi Kwan missed out on like 3 decades of acting, so we have to pair him up with a woman who is like 3 decades younger than him.
Oh, David, the woman from Wish. Put some respect on the name.
From Wish,
right?
yes.
Yeah, I mean, you are the Wish guy, Tommy.
I am the Wish
that?
guy, yeah.
Ariana
Just call
DeBose,
me-
yes.
Call me Wishbone.
So good old Marvin is a real estate agent, and he's really good at what he does. And he secretly used to be an assassin, working for his brother, whose name, I shit you not, is Knuckles.
Oh, shit.
Played by Daniel Wu.
Yeah, his
And-
brother Knuckles, and he's also got a friend named Wade Whipple.
Flames of Disaster. That's what he was.
Flames!
So his brother ran this company. It's not super clear what exactly they did. There's like vague references to they were laundering money for the Russian mafia somehow. In any case, you just gotta know it's a bunch of bad people and people who kill each other and stuff. And at some point, he was ordered to kill a woman he was in love with, whose name is Rose, and yes, she was played by Ariana DeBose of Wish infamy.
Fame? I was gonna say fame, question mark?
And instead of killing her, he let her go because he's such a great guy, and he abandoned his life of crime. And for some reason, like an indeterminate amount of time later, I mean, Rose doesn't really seem to age much at all. So I don't know. Maybe like a couple years later, she comes back into his life, and through an incomprehensible series of events, somehow convinces him to return to the old assassin ways. This is not communicated very well. It seems like there's nothing but negatives to that lifestyle, and yet somehow the lesson we learn is that it's good to go back to killing people, I guess.
We love murder.
It's a terrible
being
story.
himself. Well, and also it's like they try to make it look like being a real estate agent is wholesome, but also like not. Like they really can't seem to make up their mind.
Yeah, there's like this whole montage where he's like showing all these families their new houses that are going to like bankrupt and ruin their lives when the bubble bursts again in like 2 months.
Oh yeah.
And he's like giving them cookies and stuff, and he's giving this like heartfelt little speech about how much he's like helping people. And he has this cheeky, fun little rivalry with one of the Property Brothers.
Oh yeah, that wild fucking conclusion to that story tangent.
Yeah, we'll get back to him later. There's gonna be a lot of spoilers in this, by the way, but it's because I don't think anybody should watch it.
No, fuck this. Yeah.
So yeah, Rose comes back into his life, and I will say, most of the performances in this are pretty good. Like, Ki-hoi Kwan's doing his best. I mean, Marshawn Lynch, he's wonderful.
He's always good, yeah.
But it's just so noticeable how terrible Ariana DeBose's performance is in this. She looks like she's constantly... I think you put it like she looks like she's constantly getting eaten out.
Because people love to say, oh, they sound like they're in a porn. She's like... Because she's playing, like, a sadist character, it almost feels like. Like,
Yeah.
right on the edge of that. And everything is, like, really titillate. Like, and I hope I don't come off as pervy for feeling that way, but I think that's like what she's playing, and it just comes off really fucking awkward.
Oh, yeah, she's like moaning all of her words out.
She like takes a few punches during a fight, and she's like, oh.
She's very clearly not a very good like physical performer because she doesn't really have any like fight sequences. There's like that. Yeah. She gets like punched down a little bit, and every time she does fight, she just like tases people and one-shots them.
Yeah. Let's also not forget when she tortures a dude that we've never seen before and have no reason to side with her over the fact. Because, like, any other, like, and this is, like, dumb save the cat bullshit, but that scene is, like, 20% less uncomfortable if you just show that guy do something shitty once before she tortures. Like, just show him walk into a bar and smack a girl's ass and be a sleaze. It's like, yeah, get him. But she tortures this dude we've never seen before, ostensibly, like, within an inch of his life. And she's like getting off on it.
She's already like cut off one of his fingers and like ripped out his teeth. And
God forbid women have hobbies.
It's just that's kind of a pattern with this movie of like brutally murdering characters that seemingly don't really deserve it. And then like the characters that are objectively bad people just kind of get away with it.
Oh yeah.
Like there's like okay, let's get back to the Property Brother. Yeah. So he has this like rivalry with this guy who is like obsessed with karate and has like a black belt. But the first time that we hear about him, it's because Marvin mistakenly thinks that he drew like a Hitler mustache on one of his signs. But then it turns out that that was Rose. So far, Property Brother has committed no crime.
Right.
And then he's introduced, and in basically the same sequence, he just gets brutally shot in the head and dies. That's all we see of him.
I will also say he looks disturbingly like Zachary Levi.
He does look a lot like Zachary Levi, yeah.
So it was a little fun to see him die. Huh? Who said that?
And then there's Goonies co-star Sean Astin playing this like cowboy who's like I think Marvin's boss and
like I guess like in a manner of speaking he calls him his family in a manner of speaking that he like adopted him when he had no one else, when he like moved on from his life of crime and didn't really have anyone else to turn to.
Yeah, and there's a super weird scene towards the beginning of the movie with him where they like, I don't know, I think the writers or somebody just thought that it would be really wholesome if they did a parallel to like Ke Huy Quan's Oscars win. Because there's this scene where he like gives him an award for like best real estate agent or whatever in the county, and it's super emotional, and it's so clearly just trying to be a parallel of that, and it just feels kind of tasteless.
I didn't realize that was Sean Astin until you pointed it out.
Yeah. And like the Sean Astin character comes back later and just gets brutally stabbed in the eye with a boba straw and fucking dies.
Jesus.
And it's like, well, and that's like, I feel like, again, that's like this, I feel like they had like a skeleton of what this movie was, but they just couldn't decide who the audience would and wouldn't like. So, and this movie is like, it is about the size, if The Brutalist is a 3-hour Subway sandwich, this is a McDonald's single. This is a tiny fucking movie, because I think the cutting room floor is a junkyard. Because because almost every character ostensibly dies horribly, and then like has a double take where they're kind of breathing after, they're kind of okay. Because every character in this is a mercenary and a quirky character with like a little OkCupid profile to them, and you can just tell they screened this and said, are you okay with Marshawn Lynch dying? No? Okay, put in the scene where he's okay after, even though he takes what's like clearly a kill shot within that fight, you know? Like, and you've got We did not even touch on the subplot of the poet assassin.
That was honestly my favorite part of the movie.
It's
the
not
poet assassin, played by Mustafa Shakir, falling in love with one of Marvin's employees because she just like finds him there.
I don't even disagree. It's just like sticks out so much.
It sticks out because it's like kind of interesting. It's like maybe this is what the movie should have been about.
Well, okay. I almost was like, no, is this what I... It does not go this direction. But, like, Marvin fights that assassin, leaves him presumably vaguely for dead. Marvin's coworker finds him. They instantly fall in love. I almost think this movie is building towards Marvin is a Cupid figure. And this is a Valentine's action movie in which he unites various strangers to fall. And it does not go that direction, but it's like so pointed that I almost thought that's what it was doing. I was like, wait, is this what this movie is?
Yeah, it wasn't good.
No.
Some of the fights were okay, but they also, like, compared to the last big movie was in Everything Everywhere All at Once, it just doesn't even compare.
Awful,
It's kind of... They know that people like John Wick, and they know that people liked Everything Everywhere All at Once, so we're going to try to do that, and we're not going to do very well.
And, like, I couldn't help it when I was listening to the Blank Check episode on Raiders of the Lost Ark, they go into this really good bit on how one of the things that makes Indiana Jones work is that, like, the fact that he's a college professor isn't his Clark Kent or anything. It's just, like, a facet of his many talents. Like, you take his intelligence into account when he's just doing shit, and it seems, and we discussed this, that it seems like John Wick has turned it into, like, a Jekyll Hyde thing, where your action hero has to be your, like, dark side. Whereas it used to be just, like, these were just, like, fully formed characters who also just, like, kicked ass.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, it's a fucking disaster.
Bad movie, don't watch it. I'm handing it off to Tommy.
Alright, I guess, okay. Let's get the kind of sad roast out of the way first. Or I guess per my wager with Will, it'll be a toast. I'll just flip it at the very end. I know what I'll do. So last month, I said I was deep in the weeds of playing Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story. And I finished that game, and my opinion has not changed. Fear not. It is probably my favorite RPG. It's skyrocketed to be my number 3 favorite game ever on my little backlogged profile. Although it could be recency bias, that's what the edit button is for. And some may also remember the famous last words of, how bad could Bowser Jr.'s journey be? So I was like, okay, let's crack open this Bowser Jr.'s journey campaign. Because most people are like, it's okay. It's, like, fine at best. But I was kind of approaching it like, if it is the same game in any way, shape, or form as Bowser's Inside Story, if it's just the same engine, but you're playing as Bowser Jr., sure. At least a B+. It's maybe not remotely the same thing at all. Bowser Jr.'s journey is, like, an infantry strategy game where, and I know there's more games like this than I can competently name, but for some reason the closest simulacrum I can think of is like Totally Accurate Battle Simulator, where Bowser Jr. just has his fleets of different minions that have different advantages and disadvantages, and you tap them to send them into battle, and you watch them fight.
Huh.
Yeah, so, and, you know, it's largely hands-off, and it's pretty ironic considering my big praise for Bowser's Inside Story is that even though it's a turn-based RPG, you're always involved. There's never a point where the opponent attacks and you just lie back and take it. You are always given an opportunity to dodge or counter in real time, controlling Bowser or Mario or Luigi. Whereas this game consists of deciding, oh, Koopas will do good in this fight, and I'll send in some boos for air support, and Shy Guys for projectiles, and you tap fight, and they go out there, and sometimes you hit a button for, like, a quick time event for a cinematic super, or, like, disabling a super, but outside of that, I was almost, like, bewilderingly staring at my 3DS, confused as to why the game was playing itself. So that's pretty much, I did not make it far in it. I decided, well, I can see why life may be too short for Bowser Jr.'s journey. And I like Bowser Jr. Like, I feel like he gets kind of a bad rep. If you don't like kid characters, you might not like... I'm down for, like, a Bowser Jr. story. It seems like they're building to something kind of cute in that it's him and all of the Koopalings as well, and I fucking like the Koopalings. Do you know... Will, you know who my favorite Koopaling is, right? Don't say. You know who it is.
I do know who it is, yes.
Dav, who's my favorite Koopaling?
Ludwig.
You're close. It is Roy. We were looking for Roy.
Roy is your boy?
Roy's my boy. He works that pink. He's cool as fuck. And this is a game, this is pretty much, I think, the only game where the Koopalings have, like, dialogue. And unfortunately, I am reading them with the voices from the Super Mario Bros. Super Show. Because that's, like, the only frame of reference I have. And it's an opportunity to give those characters, like, personalities, because they have those, like, those designs give them plenty already. Those are fucking impeccable character designs, I would say. But, unfortunately, it's kind of, they don't amount to a ton outside of they're vaguely mischievous and work for Bowser. Except for Morton speaks in all caps and in the third person. And I think he's, like, the heart of the story, because he really wants to, like, he's the only one who, like, it's kind of a story arc around everyone being sick of Bowser Jr. being kind of a spoiled brat, and they all just kind of grow tired of it. And Morton, like, has this very, like, simple devotion to him that kind of tugs at the heartstrings. And I could see that being cute. And I like the idea of a Bowser Jr. centered narrative where he learns to grow up a bit and, like, actually cherish the people around him. But it was not worth playing, like, multiple levels of this game where you recognize that a paratroopa is an effective choice, and you send it into battle, and it bumps into its opponent until one of the two dies. It occurs concurrent with Bowser's Inside Story. Like, Bowser sets off to play his part in that, and this is all happening in the background, so it does have that weird, like, Lion King 1.5 feel to it, where you're, like, kind of voyeuristic to the events of the story, but it just kind of mucks it up. So I suppose Mario & Luigi Bowser's Inside Story will just have to settle for being one of the best games ever made, with kind of a bad side mode. And, like, the whole time I was thinking, if this was, like, incorporated into the main campaign, and you just have the odd Bowser Jr. mission where he plays like this, that could actually kind of work. Like, it suits him to be a character that commands infantries as opposed to getting his hands dirty. And if you, like, instead of spending extended amounts of time there, you just revisit that, like, story tangent now and then, I could see that working out. But it doesn't. I don't think it is a success, unfortunately. So my toast of Mario and Luigi of Bowser Jr.'s journey, as Will has conditioned, is you cannot in any way play that game without somehow owning a copy of Bowser's Inside Story, which is one of the best games ever. So you do own it by proxy, and that is a positive.
That does sound very boring.
Yeah, it's lame as fuck. Alright, I just realized we didn't do any of our shared topics, but this episode's already running pretty long.
Yeah, I think we're fine.
Okay, alright, we all saw the monkey and we all saw Dogman, and we liked them both.
Yeah.
Yeah. Will, go ahead.
Right. So, I want to save my favorite thing that I've watched for last. So I'd like to toast Batman the Animated Series.
Okay.
I just kind of like on a whim started watching a few episodes, and honestly, I can see why the show has endured all these years, and why a lot of these characters have become kind of the definitive version of the characters. It's very episodic, like villain of the week type thing, but I would say honestly the biggest surprise for me was that this is like a Batman that we have never seen before, and I don't think we've seen since. He's a little snarky, he's not completely moody, like obviously he's pretty moody, but like as Bruce Wayne, he'll like smile, he'll like, tell jokes, and as Batman, a lot of that shines through. And I feel like we've kind of lost that in Batman now, so it was a really pleasant surprise. Sorry,
go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean that.
No, I was just gonna say, like, pretty much every Batman nowadays is, like, prime, like, oh, my parents are dead, and I'm very upset about that, and it impacts my entire life, which, like, 100% fair, but like I really like this version of Batman that's like kind of a middle ground in between almost like a brave and the bold Batman and a serious Batman.
Well, I'd also say so many versions of Batman now think he needs to be invincible, whereas this version of Batman gets in over his head and even shows like he gets startled and like shows fear, like the ventriloquist episode where he's genuinely fucking scared of what the hell's going on is so good.
Oh, yeah. And, like, a lot of the episodes just, like, do the villains really well. I never gave a shit about Clayface or Two-Face or Mr. Freeze, and all of them are done to perfection in this show.
Well, and like you were saying, before this, Mr. Freeze was just like a goofy-ass Golden Age dude with a freeze gun. This is what gave him the background with his wife and stuff that, like, defines the character today, I would say.
Yeah. And, like, the Clayface stuff, I think, is really cool because, like, it's basically body horror. Like, when his, like, face melts off, pretty much, the first time we see him.
Oh. Some of the best animation when he's, like, morphing between his various roles.
Oh, that's such a good moment, too. Yeah, Two-Face with, like, Big Bad Harv is really cool. I will say up front, I have never liked Catwoman or Batgirl. This show made me like them both.
Nice.
I think, like, Catwoman being, like, a thief, not just because, like, she's like, ooh, shiny stuff, me one, but the fact that she's, like, trying to give back to, like, cats and nature, I think, that, like, really does it for me, in particular. Batgirl, I know, Tommy, you and I used to joke about this, but Batgirl in Injustice is, like, one of my least favorite things ever.
Is she your screwball?
No, I think Screwball is worse, but there's like, for someone, you haven't played Injustice 1, right, Dev?
No, I haven't played either of them.
Okay, I will say,
sorry, go ahead.
She was broken, and whoever voiced her, I'm sorry, just like didn't do a good job.
Because she sounds like this. She sounds like Carol Channing.
And
no, she was super busted to fight, and she had these obnoxious fucking win quotes that always tilted you further.
Yeah, and it was weird because her intro when she comes on the stage is,
"You don't stand a chance,"
and then her victory quote is, "Didn't stand a chance." It's like, could you not think of anything better?
She's like the Peach of Injustice. Did I win?
But Barbara in this show is really cool. I've never been, like, super familiar with any of the Bat family outside of, like, Nightwing, but it makes me want to, like, read more stuff. I was also, like, kind of interested to see, because obviously the biggest, I would say, new character is Harley Quinn from that show. But they also, like, there's a lot of OC characters in there that, like, show up once, and I think, like, they realize that no one liked them, and they never come back.
Well, some of them are just, like, super minor, even, like, from the comics. Like, I think Maxi Zeus is a guy from the comics that they just, like, pulled as much as possible.
Really?
That no one remembers. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Condiment King, I do believe, is original to the show.
No, Condiment King, I think, is a classic villain.
Oh, yeah, fair.
No, but, like, I can see definitely why that character got so popular. Even though if she's I don't think Harley Quinn will ever truly be up my alley. But, like, there's some really fun moments in the show with her.
I'd argue that what kind of, I don't want to say ruined the character, but what kind of introduced maybe a more simple idea of her was kind of Tara Strong taking over the character and kind of taking her to this, like, really squeaky, rinky-dink place, whereas Arlene Sorkin was much more, I feel, nuanced in her delivery and, like, the mentality of the character.
I agree, yeah. And, like, I think, like, nowadays it's such a deviation from what we originally had that it's borderline not the same character anymore.
Which, to be fair, I think that's true of, like, almost every comic book character to some extent, because they just they get handled by countless people over fucking years.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, no, I think the show is super fun. I think my favorite episodes are probably is it called Act of Clay?
Feet of Clay.
Feet of Clay. Yeah, I think that's definitely one of my favorites. I really liked. Okay, I will say I'm getting through the new Batman adventures where Tim Drake shows up, and I want to kill him.
Okay, I will. The art shift there is a lot to take in as well. I will.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because I got curious because, like, villains are showing up, and I looked at, like, the design differences. All of them look worse.
Yeah, well, Scarecrow does not look worse.
Okay, I will say that. Scarecrow looks better. Everyone else, it's like a visual downgrade. Although Poison Ivy, I think, looks a little better.
Bane in New Adventures as well.
Bane looks good too. But, like, Two-Face, Mr. Freeze has that, like, weird new helmet now.
I don't want to give away too much. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself because I love this fucking show. I don't want to leave us on here forever. Even though New Adventures has some rough edges within that, my favorite episode is within New Adventures. So you do have to chat me up when you watch, I think it's just called The Edge.
Who's the villain in that?
It's hard to say. It's a spoiler-heavy discussion. The most simple answer is Bane.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, let me see how close I am on that. Yeah, it's just a bummer that, like, honestly, I hate to say this, but, like, I can tell that it's a worse show already. Just from, like, oh, is it Over the Edge?
Over the Edge, sorry, yes.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be a bit before I get there, but, like...
Well, it's still gotta introduce some characters, because, like, RJ the Raccoon is really important to that episode.
I see.
Yeah.
No, I just, like... What?
The people who get that joke should, like, turn off this podcast and download Tinder. Get a life.
No, yeah, I just really hate Tim Drake. He is a very annoying child. And, yeah, I do agree, like, I think the Joker is definitely the standout. and that is in no small part due to Mark Hamill's performance. But like I think it is the definitive Joker as well. I don't think we're ever gonna get anything like that because I feel like nowadays they just, and I think this is a lot to do with The Dark Knight. They just kind of make Joker too scary. Like he's supposed to be funny too. Like he doesn't always need to be like, I'm the Joker, I'm gonna kill you.
Well, and I feel like people almost like stereotype even the Mark Hamill performance specifically to be in this really raspy place when like the first few appearances of Mark Hamill Joker I would almost describe as like a game show host, like my laughing fish.
Yeah.
My charming smile. I would say I don't want to talk because I could go on for hours about this show because I'm a fucking geek. I would say whenever you're done, Will, and if you're listening to this pod, if you like my best encapsulation of my favorite parts of that show are on the Animates YouTube channel I do with Martin. We did an episode each picking our top 3 favorite episodes and counting them down.
Hey, gotcha. No, that I definitely will check that out after I've finished.
Yeah. No, because mine are Heart of Ice, Baby Doll, and Over the Edge.
I did see Heart of Ice and Baby Doll. Both were very solid episodes.
Oh, yeah. Baby Doll makes me fucking cry every time.
It does have a really sad story. Yeah, I don't know. Dav, have you ever watched this show?
Not really. I've seen clips from it, and it looks surprisingly good.
It's
I would definitely recommend it if you're interested in. I know you're more Team Spider-Man than Team Batman, but
I need to like at some point. I really want to get around to just like spending time. It'd probably take a while, but just like get high and then watch all the classic like '90s Spider-Man, '90s X-Men.
Oh yeah,
animated series.
The 90s Spider-Man I think still holds up.
Yeah, that was like my favorite show when I was like 5.
People act like I like both 90s Spider-Man and 90s X-Men, but people act like X-Men is like it's the meme of you guys think you're so much better to me and X-Men is wearing the monocle and the top hat. It's just as fucking silly as Spider-Man.
No, yeah, I think Spider-Man is honestly a bit better.
Because X-Men is only... People are like, oh, X-Men is about some... It's only about the mutant racism for, like, season 1. And then they're like, oh, Mr. Sinister and Sauron are here. And it's still kind of fun.
It sounds like X-Men 97 probably, like, brought it up a little bit, though.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. 100%, yeah.
X-Men 97 is on a whole nother... It's... Yeah. Whole nother show.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's my little ditty about Batman the Animated Series, so I'll pass it to you, Dav.
Okay. So Willow recommended to me a show that is about my job. It's called Severance.
That's what I was gonna talk about next. It's okay, you go ahead.
We have space for shared topics if you don't have any. Sorry, go ahead.
True. Yeah. So yeah, I guess we're both toasting Severance then. Created by Dan Erickson. Most of the episodes are directed by Ben Stiller, if you can believe it. It stars Adam Scott as Mark S. It basically follows this company called Lumen Industries, which has what's called a severed floor, which is kind of this indeterminately large maze-like office, like under their corporate headquarters. And everybody who works there effectively has their memory wiped. Well, not even necessarily like memory wiped, but like their memories in the outside world and their memories inside the office are completely separated from each other.
Yeah. To the point that's like a dissociative identity.
Yeah, it's like they have like there are clearly a lot of things that they retain from their the so the ones that work in the office are called innies. The ones that work, or the ones that just kind of live outside, are outies. So the outies kind of have a lot of character traits that are reflected oftentimes in their innies, but it's kind of varies character to character. And so it kind of explores just how dystopian this idea is, and kind of explores it's like a satire of work-life balance in a way, and just it's also just I think it's very relatable, surprisingly, despite being so just horrific. It kind of makes you look internally and think about kind of what you put up with on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's uneasy to watch. I can't talk about like too much in detail because there's only like 15 episodes out as of like right now.
And it progresses its story at a way better clip than most streaming works, I'd say.
Yeah, it's very high quality. I feel like, weirdly enough, Apple TV kind of has just a lot of consistently good output.
Oh yeah,
Not
Apple
what I would
TV is
expect.
fantastic.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a great show. There's I'm kind of glad I watched it while season 2 was going, because the season 1 cliffhanger is crazy, and it took 3 years to follow up on that.
Because no one's sure what to renew anymore. They're like, we'll see if this isn't the most popular show ever made.
Yeah. No, personally, it's like my second favorite show ever now. I think it is incredible. I love every character. I think the concept is great. I think the music and like symbolism is incredible. I think it's awesome that like if you watch it a second time after watching it once, you realize that like all the hints are there. You just like haven't noticed them because they're just so like subtle and well placed. It's insane. It is genuinely one of the coolest shows I've ever watched, and I really hope season 3 is the last one.
Yeah, she probably shouldn't go so. I do really appreciate too that like the satire is so like it knows what it's about, and the satire really carries itself in that way that like you can, if someone maybe popped in or you described an episode to somebody, they would get what it's about on a higher level, even if they aren't following like the episode to episode story per se. Because it is about just like how day-to-day work can like really just disillusion you in however many ways, and you can read it a lot of different ways, but I think if you explain some of the like when you explain it's a really interesting litmus test to like explain the premise to someone and see if they were like wait, I feel that way.
No, yeah, and it's interesting that like I mean, obviously it is, brought up to 11, but the fact that like Lumen like worships Kier as a god is very, I think, relevant to especially what's going on with like, tech billionaires nowadays.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's very explicit in its satire. It's not like quite to the level of like The Boys level lampshading, where it's just not even trying to change anything. But it is very clearly just indicative of corporate worship and billionaire worship and that sort of thing.
I think the aspect that chills me to my core is the perks, which is why
Oh yeah, the finger traps.
Well, Dylan is kind of my favorite character because I think I am him a bit, because I'll put up with any bullshit if you just put like donuts in the break room or whatever. And he's all about the perks. He's like, and you get the waffle party perk, and it's just like boring bullshit at the risk of oversharing at like work recently, and I am a teacher, if you listeners haven't caught on, I had one last student whose dad was late to pick her up, and I'm staying with her because I'm like, it's part of my job, and I get the email that says donuts in the break room, and this student still isn't picked up, and I fill out the late paperwork, and I go to the break room, and because I'm staying with the student who was not picked up, there were no donuts left for me, and I did not get my donut perk, and I'm a full-grown man who was nearly stomping his feet in the teacher's break room out of frustration. I was so upset. Severance is a great piece of fiction.
Yeah, fiction.
Yeah.
Shout out to Patricia Arquette. She does great in this.
Oh yeah. We serve Q. I do think this is Adam Scott's best performance and possibly one of the all-timers. I would say up there with Bryan Cranston as Walter White, even so far.
I think his appearance in Madam Web was better.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, Uncle Ben himself.
The only thing I didn't like about Madam Web is that we don't know what Emma Roberts' baby is named.
It could be anything.
Yeah,
That's
crazy.
true.
Yeah. Mind if I take the wheel, David?
Go for it.
I had the pleasure of catching slightly retro, if 2015-ish is retro screening at the Alamo Drafthouse themed to Valentine's Day. Excuse me. Oh. And that was Charlie Kaufman's Anomalisa. So Charlie Kaufman is a contentious director in our friend circle. I think we all hate at least one of his works. And it's very, he directed, or at least he writes and directs and always has his fingers in a lot of pies. It's a little hard to keep track for me what he's written and what he's directed. But he was involved in I'm Thinking of Ending Things, which, Will, you love.
Oh yeah, I would love for that movie to not exist.
And he directed Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which I think is maybe the one hyper-popular, agreed, Kino film that I fucking hate. And because I just think it is such a, weirdly cynical view of love, and I think that's the point, but it just hits certain beats, and I'd have to, that's not what this is about. Maybe I'd like it better if I tried it again. Maybe I'm being a little unfair and dismissive, but this is another love story directed by him alongside an animator, I think named Duke Jones, and it is fully stop motion, which is kind of the big draw for me. It is, it's a little hard to describe. I'm going to try my best here. I'd say the first hour or so of the film is all things that could easily be live action, which is probably a tired discussion, but it's all stuff that, just very everyday things. Guy goes about his life, he hops on a plane to attend a convention, he's a motivational speaker. The first thing that's really, but then things, small things are weird. It takes a little bit, it's subtle how they do it, you gradually notice that every single person this main character encounters has the same voice. So, someone he gets a letter from, he calls his wife, and it's the same guy doing the voice. He talks to his son, same voice. The bellhop, the taxi driver, they all have the same voice. And eventually, he's he is shaken to his core when he hears a distinct voice. It's just a woman who does not sound like every single other person. And you get the idea, and what kind of gradually unfurls is this idea that he is and I guess this probably isn't a spoiler, it's a film about narcissism, really. He views everyone as, on the same plane, and, not below him, until he, deems someone, however arbitrarily, worthy of his attention, with a distinct voice, as it were. And when he meets this person, they do some really cool things with the fact that he is a stop-motion clay puppet. He can, he gets, these weird hallucinatory episodes that get kind of funky. And I guess what I would say is that a lot of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind feels very much like, oh, I'm such a special boy. And this film almost feels like it's in dialogue with that aspect of Kaufman as an artist, in that this character is kind of learning the darker side of that mentality. He meets this person that he gets this high opinion of, and he wants to dive right into a relationship with her. He cheats on his wife and his wife has the same voice as everybody else. He's sick of her. He's over it. But the second this new person has imperfections or like something that breaks the idealism, her voice distorts into the same voice as everybody else. And it is like, it's very chilling, and I like that about it. It has some really funny fucking like it's like a naturalistically funny movie. There's a long drawn out conversation he has with a taxi driver where and it's just a taxi driver making small talk and being like, yeah, we have a good zoo. We have a panda. The zoo, it's zoo-sized. And you hear that phrase, it's zoo-sized, like 50 times from every person the main character, like, can't stand to be around. It's like a marker of frivolous conversation. And this not poor guy, because he also kind of sucks. His life just unravels in a way that I think, I guess I'll just, I'll have a mask off moment that I'm very avoidant in relationships, I'd say, in a way, and like, I think insecure men will often protect their own egos by writing off large swaths of the population as just not quite on the same level, and not quite there. And as an insecure man, I've been there, and I was in this movie at points, and it was chilling and shocking, and I hope I am growing up beyond the mature place of this clay puppet with a tiny penis. There's realistic clay doll sex, there's weird fucking, like, trippy hotel chases and nightmarish imagery. It's maybe one of those chilling movies I've ever seen, and it's kind of just what is post-nut clarity in the worst of cases. And I liked it. Anomalisa.
It does sound really neat. Yeah, I know. I will say, I'm thinking of ending things was one of the most bullshit movies I've ever seen.
I like it.
And, like, I think I did overall enjoy Eternal Sunshine, but it is, I think, very much kind of blown out of proportion. But this just, like, sounds like everything good about Eternal Sunshine without any of, like, the weird stuff.
Sure. This guy also made Orion in the Dark, if you could believe it. It's a bizarre one.
Oh, yeah. That is
fucking
strange.
Yeah, I have a hard time clocking if you would like her to, because I do think there's some, like, Willowisms that you might have kind of a harder time with, just some of the slower paced stuff. But when it gets really fucking surreal, I think you'd be pretty into it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I like slow-paced stuff when it's building up to something, like in Hereditary or Space Odyssey.
No, absolutely. Alright. Do we have anything else to share about that, folks?
Do the puppets poop on each other like in Team America World Police?
No, they have, I guess another thing I appreciated about this film is... Should I go? They have, like, I'd say the most painfully realistic first-time sex between two puppets ever. And it's just, like, everything that could go awkward or bizarre about sex. And I'm watching this film going, as a doughy fat guy, like, oh, yeah, been there. Then I look at the Letterboxd reviews being like, oh, this guy's bad at sex. And I'm like, fuck. Ugh. Yeah, they don't poop on each other, though. You see this little clay penis, though.
Oh, gotcha. A little clay penis, okay.
Little clay penis. Name of the episode... No. Will, one more time.
Alright. So I'm not done with this yet, but I do want to talk about it. I have been reading the book The Fisherman by John Langen, I think is how you pronounce his last name. And it is really fucking good. It is a cosmic horror book, so very much up my alley. About... Basically, the premise is there's this guy, and his wife dies from cancer, and all of a sudden he gets the thought, I need to go fishing. And he finds solace in fishing after his wife's death.
Bitch wife dies, I finally have time to fish. I'm sorry, I took that to a bad place.
It's okay. Main character, Abe, is like, why don't you come fishing with me? It helped. Throughout this book is written from Abe's perspective after the entire incident at a place called Dutchman's Creek. And I think what really works about this book is that it feels very much like the entire thing is Abe retelling this story. But the way the dialogue is done is really, number one, natural, but also very, just very engaging. Basically, after Dan is the guy who loses his family in a car accident, and Abe have gone fishing for a while, Dan says, let's go to this place called Dutchman's Creek. They go to a diner, and they tell the guy there, yeah, we're going to Dutchman's Creek. And the blood drains out of that guy's face, and he's like, you cannot go there. And they... and it's cool because they say that the guy at the diner relayed a story that he heard from a priest, who the priest heard from the daughter of someone who experienced this. And it's interesting because it's like, they phrase it as the fact that when he listens to the story, he's like, how is he remembering all these details and like this dialogue word for word? And then after Abe and Dan eventually go to Dutchman's Creek, he's like, oh shit, now I remember what happened word for word and I'm not sure why. So it's very like, it very much like fucks with your mind. The story of Dutchman's Creek is really cool. There basically is a group of immigrants who move to work on this dam. But in the meantime, there is like this strange figure at a house who is like seemingly reanimating dead people. Which, you know, it does sound like pretty standard Lovecraft, but when it gets into the meat and potatoes of it, it's really cool. It basically shows that Dutchman's Creek is the... So they phrase it as that there is a massive ocean, and the world is built on top of that ocean. They phrase it as the world we know is a painting, and the ocean is the canvas. And I think that's a really cool way to almost put, like, stacking realities on each other.
That is fucking cool, okay.
Yeah, and they do it really well because when the immigrant, group goes to the ocean, they do it because they go to this mysterious guy's house. They go inside, and inside the house, it's almost like a bit House of Leaves-esque. There is an entire forest, and they walk for hours inside this quote-unquote house, and then eventually they get to the shore. And they notice that there is like this giant black ocean that seems impossibly deep, and there is something inside it. And they call the thing inside it the Leviathan. And the way they describe it is they only really see like parts of it at a time, but the way they describe it when they're all running away from it is that as it begins to rise out of the water, it becomes a hill, and then that hill becomes a small mountain, which becomes a large mountain, which becomes the Alps, which becomes Everest, which becomes something beyond that. And I think that's a really good way to show, like, how impossibly big this, like, weird creature that, like, swims in a dimension below ours. It's hard to explain because it is, like, a very involved, very long book. But it's definitely one of my new favorite books. It's, like, prime cosmic horror. The descriptions are really good. It's very atmospheric, while still never, like, sacrificing the, I guess, cosmic part of it, even though it does, like, it is a very personal story about, like, grief and loss for all the characters. I don't know if any of that shit made sense, but,
well,
I guess...
the impression I'm getting is that this is a story about a guy whose wife dies, and he goes fishing, and he pulls up a mermaid on the hook, and she's like, "Yeah, boys," and she, like, eats them. It's like cosmic horror like that, right?
No, Tommy, it's not like that.
I know, I'm fucking...
No, I know. I would say it is very... The creatures and, like, the weird stuff that happens are very House of Leaves-esque. So, Dav, I would say definitely if you have time, I think you would get a kick out of this book in particular.
It does sound pretty good. I do like the descriptions of that.
Yeah, it's in that case, I don't want to spoil anything, but it is just like, it's just like I get the same feeling reading it as I do from, like, Lovecraft short stories, and I think that's hard to do, especially after, you know, between such a long book. And it's really good. It's really fucking creepy. Big recommendation for The Fisherman. And eventually we do find out who the Fisherman is, which is cool. But also the title of the book is not only a character, but it's also a theme, and I'm not going to explain that until at least one of us reads it.
Well, like, and I give you a hard time that cosmic horror is, like, kind of, like, hard to penetrate, but a lot of it is, like, I think something as simple as, like, what is truly being hidden by water? And, like, how does that play into our ecosystem? And, like, is it a, you know, the dimensional, and, like, the ocean being almost like, I guess maybe I'm misinterpreting this, but almost sounds like the ocean is a dimensional, not rift, but, like, fuck. I guess what I'm trying, cosmic horror, even tapping into, like, really simple things like the unknown as far as water goes, is really fascinating.
Oh, yeah. And I think, like, I have a big fear of, like, stuff below the water, and the way that they described the Leviathan makes my skin crawl.
Jesus.
But yeah, that's The Fisherman, and I guess I will cast out my reel to Dav and give it to you.
Alright, everybody. I come forward to you with my head held down in shame. My feet are cuffed together. I'm like in one of those, what are those, like, medieval like stockades or whatever. You put your head and your
Like
hands into it.
Like
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
And I will allow the throwing of tomatoes to commence because I am going to have to toast Marvel Rivals.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I am obligated to toast it because it has sunk its teeth into me, as Overwatch did before it.
I think it's kind of sunk its teeth into, like, every member of the front group.
It's very good. It's weird. It dropped in December with not a ton of fanfare at first, and has just kind of started to really take off. It's a 6v6 third-person hero shooter I was very skeptical going into this that I would like it because I enjoyed Overwatch at launch. I grew to detest it more and more over time, and then just didn't really have a taste for hero shooters at all after that, except for my beloved Team Fortress 2. And I was kind of skeptical about it being third person. I was kind of not sure how that would work, but it does work surprisingly well. And just as an Overwatch, I main a healer. My main in this one is Invisible Woman. And she's just a ton of fun to play, but honestly, practically every character in the game is fun to like some extent. There's like no stinkers in this compared to Overwatch, where there's just so many characters in that I would never touch.
Yeah.
What are y'all's mains again?
I would say at this point mine is Squirrel Girl.
I am verse to what the situation needs, but role specific. If the team needs a tank, I'm Captain America. If the team needs DPS, I am Mr. Fantastic. And if we need a healer, I am Rocket. But I'd say on our we have a little team put together, and on our layout, I'm Captain America. So he has the lion's share of my playtime.
Mm-hmm.
We got a lot of Rocket mains in the friend group. I think one of our friends just got Lord Rocket, so...
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, shit.
But yeah, it's surprisingly a fun time. The monetization is not terrible, but it is also, like... It's, like, at a price point where I think they understand that if you are going to pay for, like, skins in a free game, that's how much you're probably willing to pay. And you know what? Fair enough. I've already paid too much on this free game. Because, you know, there's some very good skins. I would say that the breadth of cosmetics is minuscule compared to something like Overwatch, even when it launched. But I think the quality is quite a bit higher.
And it should be noted, every character unlocked at launch. No bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no you gotta pay for a hero or anything, which is like, to be fair, is something that was only normalized very recently. Like, even Overwatch didn't do that.
Right.
At least not at first. I don't know what they're doing with Overwatch 2, and I don't care. They fumbled it. They decided not to tell the story. But Marvel Rivals, on the other hand, also has a much higher rate of output compared to Overwatch. I remember Overwatch waiting for new maps and heroes to drop, and just how excruciating that was. They're dropping like 2 heroes every couple of months now. It's crazy. It's and even like new maps sometimes. There's just constantly new lore coming in. And the season pass method is pretty good. It's not super expensive, and when you buy it, you have it forever. So even if the time period ends, you can still unlock the shit in it, which is just awesome. And the game itself is just, it's fun. I really honestly like a lot of the character designs. You know, I'm not going to say that most of them are my favorite designs for those respective characters ever, but they're like very high quality. And the picks on the roster are pretty good as well. There's like, you know, the obvious ones. You got your Spider-Man, your Hulk, your Iron Man. But then you got some more kind of niche ones. You got like Luna Snow and Jeff the Land Shark. So kind of just a big variety here. Yeah, Magic's there. It's pretty nice. It doesn't feel overloaded with any one particular property. You know, you got your X-Men, you got all your Fantastic Four. It just it feels very definitive. It's nice.
Yeah, the roster is like, it's missing, I would say, a few kind of big hitters, but overall, I think it's a really solid starting roster.
I'm like not
they're leaving room
worried
for like more people in the future, though.
I was gonna say I'm not worried about anyone missing, because they're just like throwing people on and asking for nothing in return.
Yeah. Someone pointed out, though, that there's not a ton of, like, pure villains. I think that definitely needs to change.
Well, this is a hero shooter. Okay,
that is true.
Get your fucking eyes checked. Get your shit together. Kidding. Joking. Green Goblin's gonna be the biggest pain in the fucking ass when they shouldn't add Green Goblin. I'm not putting up with that shit. It's just not gonna happen.
You know what? Since they have too many DPSs, they should do Ultimate Green Goblin.
Because does he not have a glider? Is that the deal?
He's like a giant green monster.
Right. Sorry. Yeah, like in Spider-Verse.
Yeah, make him a tank.
I think the glider would be really cool, but it would just be like another Iron Man or Storm or Johnny
Glider
Storm.
would be cool, but yeah, the game right now is just way overloaded with DPS, and it reflects in what people end up picking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
There's so many DPS insta-locks.
I think we definitely need like Thanos, Doctor Doom. I feel like those would make good vanguards.
Ooh, well, if they put in Graviton, his whole deal is controlling gravity, and he can just ground all flying characters just like that.
That would be really cool.
He's like
honestly, very underrated Marvel villain.
He's pretty cool.
I
would also
Deadpool and Gwenpool at the same time.
Most probably. The Whispers are Emma Frost, and I'm for reasons I'm anxious to see how this design team handles that character.
Jesus, Tommy.
Well,
they're the hints that she's going to be joining are in the lore. Doom is saying that he's going to attend a gala. So he's going to attend the Hellfire Gala, which is hosted by Emma Frost. And so her like gala design is probably going to be a skin. Nice.
I guess, and like germane to news recently, just to get a piece out of the way that we won't have to talk to, you know, there's a lot of just hand-wringing about the free-to-play formula and how easy it is to be manipulative with that, up to and including the now past tense multiverses, and that whole shit show. Altogether, I think what it keeps coming back to is how easy Marvel Rivals makes it look to like have a really high quality product and not completely be anti-consumer in every way.
Yeah.
We should acknowledge that they did lay off some people in Seattle. I think they were like on the level design team.
Right, that scared me when I saw it. I was like, what the fuck?
It's very strange. Because what's weird about it is that there aren't a lot of levels in this game right now. And so I was kind of hoping that was going to be a big point of output in the future. But if they're like cutting down in the level design department, I'm not sure what that's going to lead to, because I think like they really do need to add more levels.
Yeah,
I do get pretty sick of a few of those. Sometimes it gets like cramped. It's like I get caught in a fucking corner. Just like give me a little coliseum.
There's this kind of annoying mechanic where so like most of the environment is destructible, which is great, but every once in a while it'll just randomly repair itself, and it causes just all sorts of weird problems. There was like the time I got trapped inside of that like statue and had to break my way out as like a healer.
I was never able to like articulate that that's what was happening to me, but I feel I see now. Yes. There is just some weird like physics there with the environments.
Yeah. And you know, there are still like free ways to earn like some skins and cosmetics and stuff, and like if you play a lot, it's not quite the same like feedback as launch Overwatch, where you're getting like a loot box every time you level up. So it does feel a little bit more limiting in that sense, but at the same time, it's just like the gameplay is quality enough that you kind of feel like you're getting your lack of money's worth out of just having fun playing it.
Yeah.
With that said, you know, just like every other hero shooter, the community is literally the worst ever, and everybody should die. But it's still a good time, so if you like hero shooters, if you like basically, you know, multiplayer shooters in general, I think, you know, check it out. It's a great time.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I'll Must say a lot that you've been telling me about Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, which sounds fucking demented, and you still had to come back around to Toast Marvel Rivals first.
I haven't finished Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii yet.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Looking forward to, because when you described that game to me, I'm like, well, I want to hear where this goes. I don't know if it's for me. Oh, all right. Last top of the evening. If you were done, sorry.
Yep.
All right. Gosh, you know what? I was gonna talk about common side effects, but it's not quite done yet. Either. And I think there'll be time to. It might be better to talk about when it's almost done. Would we rather discuss Dogman or I kind of want to do Dogman. Can we do Dogman?
Then do Dogman, yeah.
Let's do Dogman. Because I will also say we all loved the monkey.
Yeah, that was really good.
I think I like the monkey more than I like Dogman. But I think Dogman is maybe more interesting to discuss because there's a lot fucking going on there. I thought I was losing my mind a little as we watched it. It's fucking crazy. Dogman is based on the children's graphic novels by Dave Pilkey of Captain Underpants fame. And Captain Underpants was like the book my dad would read, my sister and I, and we fucking ate that shit up. We loved Captain Underpants. And I feel like there was this gradual societal, like, shift, I don't know if that's the right word, where people just gradually realized that Captain Underpants is maybe a little smarter than we ever thought it was. And you know, maybe people overuse the word satire, but there's just very smart pieces of writing. Dave Pilkey has been outspoken about, like, being a kid who did not fit in conventional school systems and stuff like that. He always wanted to more so explore his imaginative inclinations, and I think Captain Underpants is, oh boy, Captain Underpants is like kind of a manifestation of all that rebellion. And so Dogman is like a follow-up IP, because Captain Underpants is about George and Harold, and I believe Dogman is supposed to be a character also created by George and Harold, and written by them. So it's like, operates entirely on like kid logic, and just goes for broke in the wildest of ways. I've always seen Dogman like around the schools where I work. I'll never forget seeing a poster that says Dogman Fan Club, and just that's forever my new name for Danganronpa. It's Dogman Fan Club. So this is, and also kind of in the shadow of the Captain Underpants movie, which Willow, you and I had high expectations of, and I don't think we loved that one back in the day.
Yeah, it was only okay, really, and that's a bit generous.
And I think what makes Dogman work a lot better is it is entirely within, like, the quote, it's never in the real world. It is entirely within, not to say George and Harold are in the movie, but it's within their writing and their comic. And what we get is, am I overreading that this is, golly, where to begin? There's a lot to talk about. Truly, what I guess the first thing you need to know about is that Dogman's not the main character. It's a movie about Petey, is what I would argue. He is the he's the villain protagonist of this film, voiced by Pete Davidson, who creates a little clone of himself named Little Petey. And it becomes this, like, child-safe allegory for being a single dad with some, like, divorce elements in there. And
It's a child-friendly allegory for being a single dad who also has his rival dad, and they hate each other, and they love each other, and they're also kind of into each other.
I was gonna say, okay, you also read Petey as, like, almost an inexplicitly gay character, right?
No, yeah, 100%.
Okay, I thought I was reading a bit. I was worried. I think it is like, well, and I don't want to be here all day, but like, as I'm watching this, I'm almost like, were George and Harold really this emotionally intelligent as to write about tough relationships like this. But I think it sticks the landing. I think the characters know a little too much therapy talk in that they can articulate their feelings a little too well. But you know what? It's still very cute and very fun. And also, minute for minute, one of the funniest fucking movies I've recently seen. It's like, it has jokes, it has gags. I think my favorite part is, when I think Petey has to figure out a place for little Petey to sleep. So he finds there's a door that says broom closet, and he covers up the word broom with little Petey, so it says little Petey closet, as if that's the only part that would be objectionable.
I mean, Petey's used to being in closets, that's all I'm gonna say.
Oh yeah, no. Well, and I guess I'd also... And I don't know if I'm going to piss some people off when I say this. I'm sure people are mad that Pete Davidson is PD because it's a whole voice actors versus celebrity voices things. I hope I'm not taking this to the wrong place when I say PD almost reaches a point where he is not a cartoon character. That's just Pete Davidson being fucking real into the microphone. Am I correct when I say that?
I suppose.
I don't think I know enough about Pete Davidson to say if that's true or not.
Not even in the context. I'm saying people would be mad. Oh, it should be, I don't know, Tom Kenny or Jeff Bennett is PD. You get them if you want a cartoon character. They hired a camera fucking actor putting his whole heart and soul into PD the Evil Cat, is my take.
They hired an actor whose father died.
In 9/11. Yeah.
In 9/11. And that's how he's so good at talking about daddy issues, I suppose.
Yeah. Man, I think Little Petey makes little comics, and there's bits where it's and we all drink 9 soups, which is such a specific little kid thing to say. So good. Ela Fisher is the newscaster, and they don't make her mask her accent in this, which I always love because she can say things like "Dark Man." Man, I really like this. I think that I was baffled and bewildered and almost a bit confused by Dogman, but I think that is the sign of actually a pretty great film. I think it's wonderful. The animation is amazing. There's points where I thought I was looking at maybe clay puppets with some of the big ass robots with the really toyetic textures. It's fucking great. Do we have anything else to add about Dogman?
It's funny as fuck, I agree. And yeah, I do. I think the animation it's definitely one of those stylized ones, kind of like Captain Underpants, but I feel like it makes Captain Underpants look like a steaming pile of shit.
I could roll with that, yeah. All right, we ready for the news?
Yeah.
Okay,
There's
we've been at this let's wrap this up. We've been at it for a while. All right. We talked about, in addition to Multiversus dying, we covered that. Not much else to say. Rip Bozo. Even though I kind of liked that game, their business practices here were questionable and exploitative. You could get a Founders Pack that had 30 character tokens, and I do not think 30 characters were added to the game total over the lifetime. So
yeah, I don't think even then there's 30 characters worth buying.
No. But in conjunction with that, WB has been shutting down and ending a lot of its gaming branches, and the Wonder Woman game we were long promised is now dead, which is a bump. Even though I don't know if it would have been great, it's still a bummer to hear happen no matter what.
Yeah, it's definitely a sad thing overall. I think Warner Bros. Is definitely one of the worst companies out there right now, especially for not just the shitty practices they do in film, but they're extending it to games too.
Yeah, there's... Fuck. Like, there's almost, like... I don't mean to be this guy, but it's like, what else could we say? Everyone wants fucking David Zaslav out on his ass. I don't know. What else is... Ooh, boy. There was a Sony State of Play with a few small announcements. We're getting Borderlands 4 in September. Split Fiction, we got a little more, but we knew that was coming in March. We are getting a new Shinobi game, which looks rad as fuck. Art of Vengeance.
Oh yeah, the art style is fucking insane.
We got a glimpse of it back at that Game Awards reel of different Sega IP, but this is confirmed to be the Streets of Rage 4 team. That game fucking rules. It's a similar art style, so fucking great. Directive 8020 is a new game by the Until Dawn team. I liked The Quarry a lot, and I think I'm kind of alone in that. But I'll give this one a shot. They have that bit where they pick up relatively famous actors, and Lashana Lynch is in this. She's Captain Rambo in the MCU, is where y'all might know her. And there's gonna be a very cute-looking octopus platformer called Darwin's Paradox. Kinda wouldn't be out of place on a PS1 shell cover, so I'm looking forward to that. Y'all get a load of Sonic Racing Crossworld.
I've seen, I think bits and pieces. But a lot of the stuff I'm seeing looks pretty solid.
Apparently it's the lead racer gets to change the track at every lap.
That is kind of bonkers.
It's kind of cool. I'm into it. I just think it's a shame those stopped being the Sonic and Sega racing games. Those games are fucking rad.
Yeah, I want to see Kazuma Kiryu driving around in the smallest fucking go-kart.
Well, they're putting Ichiban and Dave the Diver. That was also at the State of Play.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I think that's about everything announced there, besides maybe a couple other small things. Netflix had a little trailer event. We did finally get the opening to Devil May Cry. It feels a little like they're showing us suspiciously little of that show.
I honestly am a little bit worried.
Because it's we've gotten very little actual content of it.
I think I love Johnny Young Bosch, but I from what I'm seeing, I think it is hard for people to separate the fact that he was Nero and he's using the same voice he does for Nero. Obviously I'm gonna withhold judgment until the show, but I don't know, it's gotta be something honestly, I would say the baseline is it has to be better than Castlevania. And that is an incredibly high bar. It might be impossible to reach it, but Devil May Cry is a series about stylish fighting. You have to make these fights fucking incredible.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, lots of other little Netflix things. Dav, you're still on that Squid Game train, huh? You did not fall off. One of God's toughest soldiers, I'd say.
One of God's toughest squids.
I did watch season 2, yeah. It was okay.
My students were telling me their favorite character is Thanos.
Of course their favorite character is Thanos. They are Thanos.
Wednesday is supposed to come out sometime this year. First season is
no
whack.
one cares.
Well, I hear this one might be... Because, do you know the whole deal that Jenna Ortega kind of hates the first season? But now she's a producer. Because I watched some of that first season, and I couldn't make it through. But Jenna Ortega was like, I'm being promoted to producer, and I'm dropping the love triangle bullshit, and it's gonna be, actually scary. Now, that could be bullshit. For all we know, it's a bit of hot air. But I'm a little excited for something auteur-driven that way.
This is gonna be Riverdale all over again.
I'm all for... fuck it, I don't know.
We're gonna see her die in a war.
There was a new Avatar series announced, and it made me really glad I didn't watch Legend of Korra, because it just sounds like a bunch of stuff I don't have interest in having an opinion on. Will, did you watch Korra?
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Okay, fair. Yeah, it sounds like she, like, doomed humanity or something.
Yeah, that would make sense.
By being bisexual.
People got mad, and I was like, I'm glad I don't have a horse in this race. Sounds hard.
The Avatar is inherently trans!
Io Debris and Daniel Kaluuya are teaming up on an A24 Barney movie. Fucking freaks rule. I'm all for it. It might suck, but like, fuck it. We're here for a good time, not a long time.
We're showing up for that just like we showed up for every Minions movie that's coming out.
Hell yes.
It's supposed to be, I think it's supposed to be like introspective and Charlie Kaufman-esque.
Like
but also it's hard
Lego
to say.
movie or something.
I guess, like, I mean, it's so early on that who even knows. But it's an A24 Barney movie. Fucking, I don't know. If Io is involved, I'll be there. But she's supposed to star in it as well. Man, a lot of crazy news. Michelle Trachtenberg, Gene Hackman, and Chasmo all tragically passing.
Oh, fuck. Rest in peace, Jasmo.
Rest in peace, Chasmo. Ooh, okay, Dev, you were really looking forward to Pokemon Z to A, weren't you? Or that maybe not really, but did you get a load of the whole Pokemon Direct that occurred?
Yeah. You know what? I will probably get it.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta say, I'm not crazy about, like, the character designs.
I wasn't very impressed by what we saw. Okay, Willow, did you get a load of it? Did you get a good look at that?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a positive opinion on it.
So, the thing that kind of, I guess, and this is maybe a nitpick, why are the starters 2 of the 3 Johto starters, and then Tepig thrown in for no reason?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's so weird to me.
Well, I think, like, it probably has something to do with, like, because I know it takes place in the future, which, like, honestly, you can barely tell.
Cyndaquil's fucking extinct.
I guess so, yeah.
Rest in peace, Jasmine.
Yeah. No, honestly, I, like... Because a big thing of this game was it was announced, and everyone was like, where is it? When are we gonna get news? And everyone's like, no, they're taking their time. Like, it's gonna turn out good because they're taking their time. And we've got the trailer, and it looks like Scarlet and Violet. And, like, I don't know. I think, like, it's hard because, like, I genuinely think the Pokemon Company could sell a game where it's, like, Pikachu walking in a circle, and that's all you can do, and it would still be, like, it's made $3 billion! So I think, like... I think this game will sell really well, but, like, I was hoping that, you know, because it was taking a while, that it wouldn't look like that.
It looks better than Scarlet and Violet, but it still doesn't look great.
I think it looks, like, better in the very slightest. Like, I don't know. And, like, I already, Tommy, you know this. I think Kalos is the worst region. But, like, I'm very excited for... Like, I love Mega Evolutions. But, I don't know. I got a bad feeling about this.
I guess we don't really have, like... I guess, like, the killer app, so to speak. Like, I don't really know what the hook is, you know? We don't really know if it... Like, I guess Mega Evolution's probably gonna be there. But, you know, we don't know if it's, like... Because we've had a couple open world games already, and, like, I don't know what's gonna be super different, if there's gonna be a customization aspect, sometimes they break through with that, or how they're gonna change the structure of, like, the Pokemon League and tournaments. I guess I'm still kind of waiting more on that than anything else.
I think that's reasonable.
Well, I think that about covers it. Did we have anything else we wanted to go over?
Influencer Smurf.
Yeah, Influencer Smurf.
Influencer Smurf has some really bad Trump opinions. I don't know.
Probably.
Yeah.
Voiced by Ben Shapiro.
Oh god.
Let me Smurf you.
Let's say technically that Gargamel was actually just arguing for lower taxes.
Let's say,
Well-
hypothetically, you've been a bad Smurf. Let's say you've been a naughty Smurf, even.
Ugh, I don't like that. Well,
And as you are naughty Smurf, that would make me Papa Smurf.
And as I am Papa, it falls to me to dish out punishment.
You'll hear
That
that
Smurfs deserve a spanking.
I don't know. Fucking Amaranth masked off as a homophobe today. I don't know what to tell
Oh, yeah,
We did get another trailer for the Minecraft movie, and a villager gets hit by a car.
yeah, let's go.
Coolidge. Jennifer Coolidge pops out. Man, I truly thought, because Jason Momoa has that wild ass fucking hair, and he's in bright pink. I truly thought he was like supposed to be in drag, and I didn't realize he was just like kind of flamboyant in this film.
He's like flamboyant, and he's like holding desperately onto the 80s or whatever when he was like a
Yeah.
champion, so he just
So
can't let it go.
And he's kind of, I guess
type
he's,
thing.
I was gonna say he's like kind of Billy Mitchell, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's gonna suck and be the biggest, most highest grossing film of the year. Well, the fire has finally been quelled from my time at Times Square, and I'm Tommy.
And Count Orlok has finally stopped bouncing on a crazy style. And I'm Willow.
And I finally quelled the fire from my time at Times Square, and I'm Dav, and I'm diabetic.
Well, good night, everybody.